Do you ever feel like living the same painful story over and over again? Different people, same patterns, same fights, same fears, same mistakes, and somehow you don't know how to step out of that toxic patterns. First, I want to tell you there's nothing wrong with you. I think that everybody of us is experiencing that sooner or later in our lives. I was experiencing that, and that's why I'm sharing in this video with you how to break free from toxic patterns. What I discovered, I'm sharing with you the 3 top tools that helped me to break free from toxic patterns. First of all, if you are watching that video, you did already the first step. That are the good news, because you realized that you're running in that same patterns again and again, and that's why you are watching that video. And that is very important, and maybe it's one of the most important steps in that journey. Why we are running in that toxic patterns. In my experience, we gathered that patterns over time in our lives. So we experience painful situations. We are brought up in a kind of way. These patterns in the mind are a result of all our experience of that past that we had, and somehow they give us the idea that it's easier to survive if we follow this pattern. We experience painful situations, then we say to ourselves, in order to not experience that pain again, because of course nobody wants to experience pain, we decide to follow that pattern, that new pattern, to avoid that pain. Or somehow we get into that same kind of situation again and again because we have that pattern in our mind, and at some time in the past we took that pattern. It might be not our pattern, from somebody else, from our parents, from whatever kind of situation that happened, and then we're running in that pattern that is actually leading to a very painful situation for us. So these patterns, they come from old wounds, from traumatic experiences, from beliefs that we picked up earlier in time. With these patterns, the mind somehow is trying to protect us in a kind of way, but that protection is leading to very painful experiences in the present. So in order to change our lives, we have to step out of that toxic patterns and start a new life. And that life is free. It's not run by patterns from the past, without being driven by that toxic patterns. We can live a free life out of that very moment that is not driven by that past experiences and patterns that we gathered. In order to break free from toxic patterns that I guess all of us have, the most important step in my experience is to become aware of them. So you are living your daily life, somehow you are always reacting. You never take that step to become aware, to take that step back, watch yourself, and see what is running you all the day. So you are living in that kind of way, and now you feel it's very painful, and that's why you're searching for something that can change your life, because nobody wants to live in that pain, of course. So the most important thing is to become aware of your patterns in the first place. You are living your daily life and you see what kind of patterns are there. And in order to become aware of these patterns, we have to watch ourselves while we are living. And this sounds very logical, but actually it's not that easy because we tend to be so much involved in our lives that in these moments where these toxic patterns pop up inside of us, we are not able to watch ourselves. Because if we are able to watch ourselves and become aware of them, these patterns disappear, they dissolve. So the key question for me is how we can become aware of them. Because if we are aware of them, we can take that step back, step out of them, and then we have the freedom to decide how we are behaving in that kind of situation. And that's the real freedom where something is changing in your life. And that's why I'm sharing these 3 tools with you in this video, because they can help you to become aware of that patterns, and that is changing everything, because then you can decide freely if you are following these patterns and running in this kind of painful experience over and over again, or if you step out of them and behave in a different kind of way that will lead you to a completely different kind of life and experience. My number 1 tool is meditation. You might have seen already, or you want to explore on my YouTube channel, that I'm sharing a lot of different kind of meditation techniques. And meditation is such a powerful tool to become that watcher and to become aware of that toxic patterns. And in the first place, meditation is about watching. You become that watcher. You're living your normal daily life, but if you become aware, many things will change automatically without that idea or pressure that you have to change them. So it's not a doing. You're practicing meditation, and with that tool, meditation, you become aware, and then things change somehow automatically without you doing. For that, it's very important in my experience to try different kind of meditation techniques and see how they work for you in your life, and to find a kind of meditative practice that resonates with you. But the key thing about every kind of meditation is to watch your mind, and if you are watching your mind, you become aware of all that patterns that are inside of your mind. So in this video, I don't want to give you that one kind of meditative practice, because basically meditation is very simple. You watch your mind. By watching, you see all kind of thoughts, patterns, emotions, feelings that are coming up. And by watching, if you go deeper into meditation, all of them somehow dissolve. All your problems, that pain, and everything that you're experiencing right now is dissolving. So actually in meditation, we realize that the mind is the problem. So all your problems that you have right now are in your mind. And with meditation, we can step back and be that watcher of the mind, and then for me all that problems disappear. The second tool to step out of toxic patterns that I want to share with you is a bit, let's say, more practical, in your daily life. So if you're living in your daily life and then you have a situation and you recognize that now you are triggered by something, by somebody, and you see that all that emotions, patterns, they come up inside of you, and you want to react because you want to prove that this is not right, and all that kind of patterns immediately clink in. If you can recognize that moment, then you just stop. So you will remember yourself to just stop before reacting. And if you can get that little break before you are reacting, then you have that freedom to decide. For example, somebody is saying something to you and you want to react. You can decide to say to the other person that I need a short break. For example, you go to the bathroom, whatever, and then you have some minutes, some time in between to realize that now you're running in this kind of pattern. You step out of that pattern, and instead of reacting, you are acting. So you are not reacting in that kind of pattern that is running you. You take that short break and then you act however you feel after that short break. There is a difference. You can make that experiment in your daily life. For example, if you're working and then you're getting an email from someone and that email is saying something that is triggering you and you get very angry or you feel stressed, whatever kind of pattern comes up, you immediately want to reply. Then you can stop and remember yourself, now I'm running in that kind of pattern. You reply in a later time, for example, or you write an email and say, now I'm very busy, I will reply later. And if you take some hours or one day and you have that distance because of that time gap now, you will see that many things are changing and you're not replying out of that toxic pattern. You somehow replying in a different kind of way because you had the chance to see that pattern, to step out of it and to reply in another kind of way that might not lead to that cycle in that you are running, that will lead to pain in the end again. So I think this can be or was for me a very helpful practice in my daily life to do that. And the third tool that I want to share with you goes much more deeper and it might not be for everybody. If we have toxic patterns that are rooted very deep inside of our being, and these I think we realize in meditation, because some patterns, they are that deep, they go even beyond lives in my experience. So we are living that life in a kind of way and we feel that we are running in a circle, but we don't know why and where this comes from. And these are very deep patterns inside of our mind that are going beyond this life. I did different kind of past life regressions and I saw these patterns and how they are running my life, even if I thought I'm living kind of like free. It's not true, because I was running in the same cycle as lives before, and that's a really deep experience. I made a video about that and I will link it in that corner here. So if you're interested to dive very deep, and if you might have already some meditative experience, this could be interesting for you, because that's very life-changing. It goes so deep, and you can see a lot of different kind of patterns that are running your life. Although you are thinking that you make a free decision, but actually it's not a free decision because you are running in that patterns. And once if you see them, and that's the most important step, as I said in the beginning, if you see them, you have the chance to decide to follow them or to step out of them. And I know from my experience that it sounds logical, but in reality, it's not that easy. I know that. So I think it's very important to have patience with yourself, to practice that kind of tools that I'm giving to you in this video, but also to remember that it might be not possible to get it in 5 minutes. So it takes some time to realize what patterns are running inside of you and to step out of them. So it's very important, in my experience, to give yourself some time, to be patient with yourself, to see that you lived so many years with that patterns that it might take you a while to step out of them. Of course, it can be in 1 second, it's possible. But I'm just saying that because I have the same experience, that I am disappointed because then I see that I'm triggered again, and there comes a situation that is very difficult, and I'm trapped again in that toxic pattern. I also experienced that. Just continue. It's not helpful if you're sad about that, because if you take that first step and you watch yourself and you become aware, it's the biggest step already, and there is no need to be sad because you didn't realize it in one situation. Just continue, and I'm sure that one day you will step out of it. It can happen every moment. It might need some time, but it's absolutely worth to continue to watch yourself in order to live that life that is free, and then everything will change in your life. You cannot imagine this now in that moment, but I have the experience. It's possible. You will see. Just give yourself some time. I hope this video was helpful for you. It would be very nice if we could inspire ourselves. So if you have patterns that you want to break free of, please share them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I wish you a beautiful day and hope to see you in the next video.